This podcast contains adult themes, explicit language, and the kind of conversations your browser history would rather forget. Listener discretion is advised, and curiosity is highly encouraged.
Pawn for thought. Pawn for thought. Pawn for thought. Pawn for thought. I could beatbox if you want.
We are your kindly sex detectives, ready to guide you through every "what the hell did I just watch" question you have.
Matt is a mental health practitioner with over 3 decades of self-appreciation under his belt.
And Bea is an accredited psychosexual therapist who's seen it all, heard it all, and at this point, the algorithm is afraid of her next search.
Matt, what are we learning about today?
Today, we are talking about fart porn.
Stop it, fart porn? Not gonna lie, I was actually low-key excited about this one. I have never typed fart into Pornhub in my life, and I didn't know what to expect. So this was like baptism by fire in a fun way.
Could say it really gassed you up, am I right?
Yeah, you could say I was left gasping. I was interested mostly because not that I've never thought about it, like I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know much about it. And the fact that we've chosen to look at this as a topic, I just love it.
Yeah, same. It's not something that has really come up on my radar as something that I've actively searched for. And the first time that I did see fart porn, I had mixed feelings because I was sort of like intrigued, slightly put off, but then I was also just sort of laughing the whole time.
I was, I'm going to say, a little bit disgusted, but also I found it a bit funny. You've had a little read, Matt. If you could enlighten me, what did you learn about fart porn or fart fetish? What does it involve?
From what my research came up with, it tells us that it's a pretty niche fetish that sexualizes flatulence, essentially. And even though, it's not something that is super common, it's something that definitely has a community and a following.
I found that there was like being farted on as part of kink or humiliation, farting on someone, smelling farts, hearing fart noises, or watching farts. And then there was like 2 distinct groups, so smell and sound, people who were more interested in smell and people who were more interested in sound. Not to say that they couldn't sometimes cross over and do, but just that seems to be the difference for some people. Like they don't want to smell it, but they'd like to hear it, vice versa. Did you find that?
Yeah, definitely. That was something that I came across too. It's quite a diverse range of interest in this category, not necessarily just listening to someone fart, someone being farted on, being the fartee, that sort of thing. It was just more a range of different avenues and different dynamics that kind of played into this genre.
Face sitting was a big one. For the dominant partner sitting on another partner's face and then farting on them as like a humiliation power exchange.
It is, the different aspects of power dynamic, the domination, the submission, but also things like embarrassment, humiliation. It's all a part of what this fetish or kink is.
And apparently it's a common request when we see things like sex workers and OnlyFans that it's paired with face sitting and rimming. I cannot stress to you how I was not expecting there to be so much diversity. So like one of them was like body expansion and inflation fetishes, which is linked to stomach bloating, belly noises, and gas buildup. So it's not even about the fart, it's about the pre-fart. And some types of porn might have people showing their stomach getting bloated and then farting. So we move beyond just the smell and the sound and we move into like the visual experience of the fart.
It's almost like there's sort of that anticipation around it as well.
Human balloon would have been a great search term, first of all, but then the search terms they've actually got are like farting fetish, farting in face, fart domination, girl farting, farting on slave, fart compilation, smelly farts, loud farts, accidental farts.
I love how much research you did. You went all out.
The other one that I thought was really interesting was the tickling and embarrassment. It's like a focus on the loss of control and then bodily sounds that come with it. So if someone's tickling you so hard, you start giggling and then you fart. It's a bit adorable, honestly. Although the number of people who watch fart porn was a lot lower than I'd actually thought.
It kind of speaks to some of the information that I found around how many people actually engage in paraphilia type content, with 44.5% or nearly half of men, and then also 1/3 of women at 30.9%, have sort of shared that they have been interested in at least one paraphilic behavior, like fart porn.
It doesn't surprise me that so many people have paraphilic interests because taboo, all that sort of business. But at the same time, 44% feels like a lowballing number. I would have actually thought it would be a lot higher.
The number of people who watch porn is obviously massive, but then when we look at niche topics like this, maybe it is higher, but again, there's a lot of stigma, shame, embarrassment that goes into a fetish or a kink like this. So maybe the reporting numbers that we're getting are actually lower than what it really is. Who knows? It's another one of those genres that really has so many different avenues.
Particularly with porn, it's actually really easy to make. As far as it goes, it's no age, ethnicity, gender. It crosses all of those lines. It's just someone sitting there ripping farts.
We could go back to what we talked about earlier where, it's step sibling, but they're farting on each other. Or like husband and wife. It's like a cuckold situation where she's making him get farted on by another man or something. Like it's...
The crossovers.
The crossovers are endless.
I actually had the same thought when I saw the explanation around the ease of making content. I was like, this is the same as step siblings. Like, you barely need to do anything. You just add the label. Although in this case, you need probably mac and cheese in a little private space and a jar if you were planning on selling it afterwards.
It honestly is such a lucrative business, and it's one that you would never run out of resources for. You're going to be farting for the rest of your life. That's just, like, I was going to say liquid gold, but you don't want liquid. That's gas gold right there.
Did you find reasons like why people might find themselves into the sweet and gentle musk of the anus? It came out of my mouth before I could stop it.
Oh my God. Actually, I really struggled to find people, apart from like on forums and on Reddit and stuff like that, who were actually into it. I asked a few people that I know if they'd ever watched fart porn, and if they had, what were their thoughts? If they hadn't, what was the sort of barriers toward them trying it out? Or, what is it that makes them go, no thanks? The thing that I found was that most of the people I spoke to said, no, it's not something I would ever consider. The straight guys were like, nah, chicks farting is like, it's a complete turn off for me. So I guess there's a lot of shame and stigma around gender roles too, like with women farting and how they're perceived if, they're doing something that is a natural body function.
And you know what? Doesn't surprise me. I think generally farts are something that people are very ashamed of. In general society, you don't usually fart in front of people unless you're comfortable with them.
There is, information and research or people sharing their experiences where the bodily functions like farting can sort of be associated with caregiving because it is such a, in a sense, intimate kind of thing.
I mean, it is intimate, but at the same time, you fart in front of a partner usually, and people will be like, that's disgusting, you're so gross. Even if it is a form of being able to show connectedness and comfort, there was the girlfriend experience in fart porn, which I thought was great. And it's like hanging out with your girlfriend after eating a spicy dinner and hearing her rip a few good ones while lounging and making out. Having a woman do that in front of you and still be cute is both instantly naughty and implies trust and closeness.
Can you imagine though, like if you found a partner who was into this kind of thing, you could just eat whatever you want and you would never have to feel conscious about whether or not you were going to rip a massive fart in front of them because they're there for it. Like you could, you just sit there on the couch together and you're just eating your 3 cheese pizza, having an absolute gas of a time. They're just down there shoving their head between the cushions to soak up all of that gassy goodness.
Do you know what the concern would be though?
Pink eye.
I was going to say they were going to get like triple my cheese or double my sriracha intake. But you're right. The go-to issue is going to be pink eye. Someone's walking around being like, what's up with your friend? And you're just like, I don't know.
Not sure.
Don't know where he's got that from.
Sure. It's pollen, I think.
It's winter. It's winter. I don't know why he's got allergies. When I looked up experiences that people had, why they were into it, there was a few that were self-reported reasonings, and some were like, I remember not being allowed to use the word fart when I was little, so it made it feel more taboo and forbidden. There was another one that's like, as a young boy, I always had an unsaid admiration for other people who were public farters because they always seemed so uninhibited and confident, while it was still a little bit subversive. Saying that girls don't tend to be open about this kind of stuff unless they feel really comfortable around you. So I always understood it to be a sign of affection. And one of the interesting ones that I really actually quite liked was my attraction is born mainly of the contradiction of social norms. So women are expected to be beautiful, delicate, and clean little butterflies. And when someone rips a horrid ass fart, it throws that out the window. There's the inherent trust in showing that part of yourself that you've been taught to hide, the obvious domination inherent in farting on someone, and the incredible confidence of being able to fart without a care in the world. All those factors combine to make me feel attracted to farts, but they also colour my other kinks and interests in non-traditional femininity.
I think it really
That feels
speaks
great.
to, women taking back the power when it comes to their bodies and the things that they do with their body. I also kind of wonder then too, like if you're somebody who does have this fetish, is it specific to your partner or people that you're intimate with, or is this something that permeates throughout?
It's a mix for people. Some people are only sexually attracted to farts by people they're sexually attracted to. And then there are other people who are just aroused by farts in general. Doesn't matter who they're from. It's the act of the fart. It's totally varied. There's no real research around it. Nothing in the way of real empirical evidence. The stuff that I did find about the why people do it is actually way more in the area of neuroscience. The role of smell in olfactory processing. The smell is associated with a memory sometimes, and then it's reinforced. So we have the dopamine spike. They might have been a teenager or something and someone's farted near them, or a person they were sexually attracted to farted near them. So they're aroused by the person they're nearby, and simultaneously that person's farted, which has created a dopamine spike, reinforcing a connection, and then the fetish is there years later.
But the other thing that was interesting too is that there was a bit of divisiveness between whether it was something that people were aroused by or disgusted by.
I found the same thing. I think that also comes down to those people, at least in the camp of big yes, was like, I have thought about this and myself and my sexual freedom and expression, and I accept this part of myself. So less about the fart and more about the social acceptance and identity narrative that comes with it. But back to like the reasons people do it. Things like auditory processing and sound fetishes. Your auditory cortex processes sound, and it's the association with taboo or past arousal. And suddenly, like the same way if you hear certain things like dirty talk, over time, the brain can rewire itself to respond erotically to that sound via your neuroplasticity, which then creates an ongoing fetish because you've heard something and you've been like, that's hot. Then you go back and you're like, maybe I should listen to it again because it was kind of hot and I want to understand why it was hot. And then you're like, it was still hot. And then after a while, it remains hot. And now it's even hotter.
It's just an escalation of hotness by the sound of it.
Yeah, like you just keep re-exposing yourself. And over time, you're just like, this is amazing. I'm loving it. And then moving into the, I can accept this about myself, or I feel deep shame.
There is sort of that evolution in a sense where somebody initially realizes that it's something that they find arousing. You can be sitting in a shame spiral. And I think over time, eventually you get to a place where you can stand in power and be able to say like, yeah, this is something that I'm into. It's not something that everybody's into, but, there are other people like me and that's cool.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about fetishes. I don't think there's anyone who's actually alone in a fetish.
Not that I can think of anyway.
No, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of views of fart porn. Your community is there, people.
The comments in themselves kind of prove that this is something that a lot of people are actively watching and into. Some of the comments just being like, fuck yeah, that was sick. I wish I could be your little submissive fart boy so you could fart in my mouth.
I saw a few that were like, I can't believe I nutted to this.
I also saw
So there's
those.
your shame spiral. When you're younger and you're learning, role modeling behavior is already a thing that lots of psychologists know about. And that's when we see behaviors, monkey see, monkey do, as opposed to monkey get told to do things and monkey do the things they're told. If a person repeatedly experiences sexual arousal around certain stimuli, so if they're embarrassed when they fart and then those get like linked with your arousal templates, then after a while you get the reward pathways, which means so you would get embarrassed when you fart and somehow get a little bit turned on, and then you get the dopamine from the brain being like, hey, happy days, boyo, keep this going.
Yeah, okay. So instead of when you fart, you feeling ashamed or being embarrassed, that sort of stuff, you then realize that it's something that turns you on. And so your brain then has that response instead of the other one.
Pretty much, but you would also be embarrassed. So you don't get rid of the embarrassment. The embarrassment's still there. And like the humiliation aspect and the degradation is still there for some people, remembering there's so much variation in this, but you would also get aroused. You would also get the dopamine reward pathways. And then it all becomes one little melting soup.
I never thought that I would be nerding out over farts, but here we are.
Neither.
It's wild.
Like I said, I thought this was super interesting because olfactophilia is also something where body odors activate emotional memory circuits. So you end up having your memories associated with something that you smell, right? So that'll be like, I smell a fart and suddenly I'm sporting this rock hard erection, and or a lubricated vulva, and or whatever other genitals and other lubrication you experience. And the other part of it is the curiosity or novelty of it. So it's niche. And some people watch porn that is niche or unusual just to see what it is. And they do it without any interest or arousal. It's just
for the shock factor.
Yeah, and the algorithm suggestions. And then sometimes after a while, it might lead to desensitization. And then they're just back there watching it. Because, I mean, there are so many crossovers from fart porn. It looks like it's very rarely about the fart itself. Like we move into, like you said, there's the domination, there's the submission, there's the human furniture, there's the humiliation, there's the curiosity and novelty, there's the connection with memories and sound and smell. And like, it's interesting, the diversity of the fart. I just think the more I learn about this, it makes sense to me. I wasn't able to get into it. But what I did take from it and like the research that followed was that there's such a variety and reasons that people would access this. It's not a disgusting thing. Again, the intimacy. You can be yourself with me. This is a non-traditional feminine thing to do and I'm happy for you to do it. Or it feels a little bit naughty and we all like to feel a little bit naughty occasionally. Or it takes me back to a really nice memory I had, which made me feel really good. Or it takes me back to a memory that I felt really embarrassed by.
Yeah, exactly. I think another thing to be mindful of, when we talk about these dynamics is that it's not about being mean or abusive or anything like that. When we look at the power dynamics between dominant and submissive, it's more around playing those roles, connecting with emotions and memories in a consensual space is something that we see with a lot of different kinks, fetishes, paraphilias, etc. Is if it's something that develops in childhood or through adolescence, it's often not something that we're 100% aware of too.
And I think with pornography like this, it's a space where you get to do it safely and explore what you want to explore. There's forums, groups of people that are interested in this that you can have this kind of back and forth with and explore those fantasies with and not do it in person if you're not quite ready for that.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to, in a sense, having a supportive community of people behind you, because it is something that is quite niche. It's something that a lot of people, perceive quite negatively or don't understand. So having other like-minded people who are into it that are kind of like, hey, like, this is our thing. It's validating in a sense, I guess.
I think you're right. So we'd love to be able to help you figure out, if you wanted to start trying this, what you need to eat for a good fart.
Tried and tested. The classical beans song.
Mm.
Beans, beans, the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot.
Is it? I thought it was poop.
No.
But toot makes sense. The big one is actually sugar-free candy.
Yeah, right.
According to people who like a good fart, sugar-free candies contain sugar substitutes like sorbitol and maltitol. And if you eat too much of it, you can get wet farts.
This is making a lot of sense to me as somebody who drinks a lot of Pepsi Max with no sugar. Honestly, I'm like an unclaimed gold mine just sitting here ripe for the picking.
Untapped, my
like,
friend.
Come and fossick these grounds, peeps. Bring your pickaxe. Have at it.
Okay, so aside from having your sugar-free candy, your Diet Pepsi Max or Diet Coke, a bag of beans, or maybe a coffee and some mac and cheese, if you do want to do this and you're not interested in the scat part of the fart, then douche first, my friends.
Yeah, you don't want to go off with a loaded barrel.
Yeah, clear out the chambers before you send the gas pipes through.
So I think it's important to also remember that if this is something that you want to try, you want to do it in a way that is still going to be healthy for you. So if you're lactose intolerant, if you have certain food intolerances, etc., don't use that as a way to build up the farts because it's probably not good for you. And honestly, it's probably not as authentic as if you're just eating things that don't disagree with you. Like, give yourself a real chance.
Authenticity is what we were worried about
That's
here.
exactly right. If you want your farts to be authentic, don't get the ones your body doesn't like.
There are staged ones. I was reading about this.
Yeah, you can use just an empty douche to squeeze air up there.
Yes, and then you fart out the air that you've squeezed up there, so it's a performative fart. You don't do that for real intimacy, people.
If it is something that you want to try or you want to kind of broach with another person and you're not sure where they stand on that, like there's some things you could do, like go the third party route and say something like, oh, I just found out that my friend likes it when his girlfriend farts on him when they're fucking. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, or you can show like a little clip of it and be like, oh my God, have you seen this? Or you can show them this episode and show them that it comes from a place of love and care and sometimes other auditory and olfactory processing things.
Yeah, you could also go with a qualitative approach and just sort of be like, has that ever happened to you before?
So casual.
Well, like, how did you respond? That kind of thing. You know, work it into a conversation.
I like it. I like the third party route. I think that's a safe space to start. Particularly if you're not proud of it, because like we were talking about earlier, we've got those two very distinct camps. You've got the I don't feel good about the fact that this is what I'm interested in, and the I fucking love it and I'm really thrilled about it and I'm proud of this aspect of myself. And if that's not you, those people already know how to approach this conversation. They're good. They're fine.
I think you also need to consider, like, how important to you is this as well? Is it that important that it's something that you need to do, or is it something that you want to do, but you are okay if you don't?
Well, that's the difference between like a fetish and a kink, though. A kink is something that you are interested in and adds value to your sexual experiences. A fetish is something typically that you would generally need to get off. So if it's a fart fetish, then we're moving into the area of someone being like, well, this is actually a non-negotiable for me in my sex life, then that's fine. If that's something you're into and that's something you need, and you know that about yourself, then move yourself into the acceptance camp and be straightforward about it. It's okay. You are not alone. There's a whole community of people that share your interests. Post-nut peer support, which is our comment of the week. Did you find one? Because I did.
I sure did. My Pornhub comment of the week is, I cropped your face out of one of your older videos to use as a hairstyle reference, and the barber fucking recognized you.
That's fantastic. Okay, I watched a porn of a woman putting pancake batter up her butt and then farting it into a fry pan. And one of the comments was, I was here for it until you did that horrible flip. Shit's undercooked, mama. And I genuinely love it when the real world and our expectations around food safety and standards infiltrate the nut.
That is pure gold.
Oh God, both of those are fire. Thrilled about it. And that's a wrap on today's deep, weird dive into your browser history. Was it good for you? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Frankie, Simon, and the Woods family for your ongoing contributions. See you next time for your favourite family barbecue background chat show.